Every once in a while, a cultural earthquake shakes the world and changes everything we thought we knew. The Titanic, once called unsinkable, meeting its tragic fate. Humanity proving the impossible by landing on the moon. And in the world of pop culture, the day the Beatles broke up. For millions of fans, it was one of those "this will never happen" moments. Until it did. The Beatles weren't just any band. They redefined what it meant to be young, famous, and creative. They made being in a band cool. They weren't just musicians. They were a movement, a cultural revolution wrapped in melody. And with nearly a decade of chart-topping success and global dominance, their breakup in 1970 felt like the end of innocence for an entire generation. But here's the twist. While the world was blindsided, the Beatles themselves knew the writing was on the wall. Behind the scenes, tensions had been brewing for years. John Lennon, candid as ever, would later admit that the band was slowly disintegrating long before the world caught on. So what really tore apart the most famous band on Earth? Fans have debated for decades. Was it ego? Was it love? Was it money? The truth is, it was all of those things tangled together. But if you look strictly at the business side, one decision stood out as the breaking point: Paul McCartney's refusal to let manager Alan Klein take control of Apple Corps after Brian Epstein's death. McCartney insisted his father-in-law Lee Eastman should step in. The other three disagreed. That vote against Paul wasn't just business, it was personal. And in many ways, it was the last straw. From there, things unraveled fast. Each Beatle was growing restless, eager to explore new creative paths outside the group that had defined them since their teenage years. Creative battles in the studio, financial disputes in the boardroom, and personal struggles offstage collided like a storm. By the end of 1969, the Beatles weren't just drifting apart, they were falling apart. And then came a shocking revelation years later. In 1973, John Lennon sat down for an interview and pulled back the curtain on what really happened. He compared the Beatles to a marriage gone toxic, a relationship that, no matter what, was destined for divorce. The Klein-Eastman feud wasn't the cause, he explained. It was simply the final nail in the coffin. But the real bombshell? Lennon admitted that Paul's suspicions about Klein had been right all along. That confession sent shockwaves through the fan base. For years, Lennon and McCartney had been painted as bitter rivals, their friendship fractured beyond repair. And yet, in that rare moment of honesty, Lennon gave fans hope that maybe, just maybe, reconciliation wasn't impossible. McCartney himself later hinted at the same thing. Just a year after Lennon's admission, Paul told Rolling Stone that he was open to writing with John again. He even said, "New possibilities are opening up. Anything could happen." For fans, it felt like a glimmer of light in the darkness, a chance that the magic of Lennon-McCartney could return. Of course, we know how the story ends. Lennon's tragic murder in 1980 slammed the door shut on any possibility of a Beatles reunion. But those brief moments of honesty between Lennon and McCartney remain one of the most fascinating what-ifs in music history. The Beatles may have ended, but the story of their breakup, filled with conflict, confessions, and the faintest spark of reconciliation, still fascinates the world more than 50 years later.